Hey guys, what's up? Pimmarthrow here, and welcome back to Let's Play The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. In the last episode, we went through the Forest Temple, broke the curse inside of there, and freed the technically second, but you know what, I don't really count the Light Sage as an actual sage when it comes to saving them from the temples, because, you know, he already comes pre-done. But anyway, we went through our first temple as an adult, the Forest Temple, broke the curse in there, and as you can see upon exiting this place, it looks like Death Mountain looks a lot different, and it turns out if we wait for Navi, which I'm not going to do, nor am I going to listen to her. But either way, if you wait for Navi's little notification up here, you'll find out rather quickly that the next place that you need to go to is Death Mountain. So, that is what we're going to be doing in this episode. If you heard the volume change a little bit, that was just me screwing out the audio settings. I had the capture card audio way too high. It won't change anything on your end except for the echo from my microphone. Because I usually keep the audio on 1, which is the lowest it can be where I can still hear the audio, but I don't want it to echo through my microphone, so that's pretty much how it works. So, in order to get into the Fire Temple, there's not anything we have to pick up like we did with the Forest Temple where we had to get the hook shot. We can actually just head straight up. There is one thing we do need to pick up, but it's not really so much an item as it is a new piece of equipment, which we've not gotten for a while. The last new equipment we picked up was the Hylian shield instead of the wooden one, so we're going to go ahead and get that just on the way up. And there's not too much we have to do before making our headway into this next temple, and none of it's really side questing. There's one part that's technically side questing, but it will not take very long. And it will be just before entering the Fire Temple. Yep, there's that notification, which obviously went away thanks to the wonderful power of going to a different screen. As you can see right here, there's some boulders that were in the way that weren't there before. The ones that are stationary, there's not much you can do about them. You're just going to have to walk out of the way of them. The ones that are rolling down, you just have to dodge them as best you can, but sometimes you're going to have to wait or just take the hit, one or the other. Thankfully, I got pretty lucky right there. And once you get up to this point where you've got the split path between going up to the top where the Great Fairy was in Death Mountain Crater and then going right to where the Gorons are, then you'll take a right because we're going to head into Goron City and see how the Gorons are faring. Because the last time that the Gorons had an interaction with Ganondorf, it was whenever he asked for the Spiritual Stone and they denied it to him, so if they caused a problem last time because of that, and, you know, who knows what they would be doing this time. And if you take a look around Goron City, looks like there's not many Gorons here. There's one rolling around down here, so like the previous one in getting the bomb bag, let's see if we can't stop him and maybe get some information about where the heck everyone went. Oh, and by the way, just a fair warning, I'm stunned just now that I managed to get that on the first shot. It usually takes a lot more tries than that. How could you do this to me? You're Ganondorf's servant. Hear my name and tremble. I am whatever you named your character at the start of this game. Hero of the Gorons. Excuse me? What? Your name is also Delta? Then you must be the legendary Dodongo Buster and Hero Delta. My dad is Darunia. Do you remember him? Yeah, I remember him. He danced like a crazy fool when we played Saria's song. So he named his son after you because you're brave. So apparently this guy, this kid is 7 years old or younger, but he's speaking quite fluently, and well, maybe it's different for Gorons, but either way. Please give me your autograph. Sign it to my friend Delta of the Gorons. Oh, by the way, I guess it's not a good time to ask you for this. Please help everyone. Apparently he forgot, but his dad went to the Fire Temple and the dragon's inside, and if we don't hurry up, even my dad will be eaten by the dragon. So now's the point where he starts crying and you can ask him for more information, and you have to listen to both of these. It doesn't matter what you do first. So we're going to start with about the dragon. A long time ago there was an evil dragon named Volvagia living in this mountain. That dragon was very scary. He ate Gorons. Using a huge hammer, the hero of the Gorons, boom, destroyed it just like that. This is a myth from long ago, but it's true. Well, then it's more so a story. I know because my dad is a descendant of the hero. And if you try to do the same one, he'll continue to cry, so we're going to go to about the Gorons. Everybody was taken to the Fire Temple. While my dad was out, Ganondorf's followers came and took them all away. Yep, sure enough. All of them will be eaten by Volvagia. Dad said that Ganondorf has revived Volvagia as a warning to those who might oppose him. Ganondorf is going to feed them all to Volvagia. Which, like I said, that kind of makes sense because of what happened with the Spiritual Stone. It would be kind of expected that, once again, that they would deny him whatever he wanted. And in this case, he might just be getting revenge for not getting the stone in the first place. But you got a Goron tunic now that you've talked to him in both spots. This heat-resistant tunic is adult size, so it won't fit a kid. Going to a hot place? No worry. This also opens up the shop and the passage to Darunia's room yet again. In addition to this Goron, Darunia's son, the shopkeeper is actually still here. You can go in and buy anything you want inside the shop. He is still here. And if for whatever reason you didn't pick up the heat-resistant tunic or lost it somewhere, you can pick it up here for 200 rupees. Like they mentioned, the tunics are only adult size, so if you switch back into being a child, which we saw in the last episode you can do, you're just going to go back to having the Kokiri tunic, or the green tunic, whatever you want to call it. Your basic clothing, so there'll always be a red rupee in that pot. I think, yeah, there we go, I was hoping for some arrows. So if you head into Darunia's room, you can actually pull the statue back. Turns out there's a passage on the other end of it. And this will take you into a place that might seem familiar, Death Mountain Crater. Now, last time we were in here, we just came to pick up a heart piece and get a Skulltula token, and we couldn't stay in here for very long. But now that we have the Goron tunic, we have a heat-resistant tunic, so that timer is completely null now. We have no need to worry about it anymore. Also, I'd like to point out that there's wooden bridges in like this active volcano. It's probably not the best design structure. But here we see Sheik again. It is something that grows over time, a true friendship, a feeling in the heart that becomes even stronger over time. The passion of friendship will soon blossom into a righteous power, and through it, you will know which way to go. This song is dedicated to the power of the heart. Listen to the Bolero of Fire. You have learnt the Bolero of Fire. Seriously, like right there. How did that not burn through the bridge? You just had like an active lava spire separating the two of them and clearly going through the bridge made of wood and whatever. So there's one other thing I want to do before heading into the temple. The entrance to the temple is actually right there. There's nothing else we have to pick up, and this is our warp. However, there's one other thing I want to do. So now that we have the Bolero of Fire, we can actually get to this very easily. So I need to go get my Ocarina out. Hush, Navi. And we're actually going to come back to this exact same spot as a kid. Now, we were in here once before on that back wall over there that we climbed down. However, we could not get to this specific location as a kid before because we pulled back the statue as an adult. You're not able to do that while you're a kid. You can only do it while you're an adult. So, and even if you pulled it back as an adult and then went back in time as a kid, you pulled it in the future. 7 years ago, you didn't pull it at that point, so it's just going to be back where it was. So you need to pick up that song in order to be able to warp here. This seems kind of dumb, but I figure I might as well go ahead and do it now because this is something that, like, if you're playing along the same way, this is the only thing you're going to be picking up in Death Mountain Crater as an adult, so... was it... It's down A. To be honest, the Bolero of Fire, while I do remember it, and despite the fact I clearly act like it didn't right there, because it's got a pattern that, you know, you can see the pattern. It's, I think, the only warp song that actually has a definite pattern to it, as opposed to, like, you know, the Minuet of Forest didn't really have a pattern to it. It was like A, up, left, right, left. But now that we're here, and you can see the temple's also blocked off, we're actually going to plant a magic bean here, if I can get to it on my menu. No matter how many hearts you have, you're going to have enough time to do this. All I have to do is walk forward, plant the bean here, and then you can exit. That's all you have to do, because obviously it will grow into being the full thing as an adult. So, I was trying to play the Bolero of Fire again right there. But I don't know, I'm not a big fan of the Bolero of Fire. I've heard some really good covers on YouTube of it. Like, people make great covers of all the Zelda songs, Ocarina, Majora, any of them really. But the Bolero of Fire is one that's kind of like, as just the actual song, it's kind of lost to me. Like, I don't feel anything really coming from it that, you know, really resonates with me. The one that I know the most is the song for the Spirit Temple, the Requiem of Spirit. That one's probably my favorite Warp song. But I do appreciate all of them quite a bit, and including the Bolero of Fire, but that one just, I don't know. Just something about that one doesn't strike me for whatever reason. And to be fair, Majora's Mask had its song too that I never could remember. For those of you that watched that LP, you know full well it was the Bossa Nova, the New Wave Bossa Nova. I keep acting like you know. Well, because the thing is, I know there's a pattern. I don't remember if you go right down first, or down A first. You think I'd know by now it's down A. Somebody seemed like, somebody said in the comments that I must be an expert in this game because I played it through so many times. Really, I'm not at all. I do stuff in the exact same pattern, and I don't ever do my research because I already, you know how to do them, so. Just head up to the top here and grab yourself a piece of heart. Another piece will be powered up yet again. Whoa. Yeah, there's like smoke coming out of the top of that thing, and it makes it kind of ridiculous. Okay, now before we enter this temple, I can go in here and hop down here. But when I did the Forest Temple, I know I missed a key, and I will admit I did that temple entirely wrong. What I should have done was go ahead and play through it, and then if I missed anything, just start over and have it be like a proper guide when it comes to at least the temple. So what I'm going to do here is play through the temple, and if I miss something horribly, then I'll probably go back and, well, I'll save right here, and then I'll make another copy of the file, and then I'll go back and do it again. So you guys won't see a difference, but I would like to actually start doing the temples from now on without forgetting things, and in particular that would be incredibly true for the water temple because a lot of people have trouble with it. So I'm going to go ahead and save right here and very quickly make a copy of my file, and then we're just going to head straight into the fire temple. Alright, now with that out of the way, let's go ahead and get started on our fire temple. So welcome to the fire temple. We've got doors, we've got statues, and we've got lots and lots of fire bats. Right here you come up to an intersection that has a locked door and one that is not locked, so we're going to head in here. If you go down to that locked door downstairs, you'll know that that's actually pretty much one of the places you'll visit at the very end of the dungeon. But heading over here, sure enough, it's Darunia. You've grown so big since I last saw you. You look exactly the same, but he wants to have a man-to-man talk with you. Now's not the time. He's causing trouble on Death Mountain. He's revived the ancient dragon Volvagia. He's going to feed my peace. So basically, if you were paying attention to the story that his son said, this is nothing new. If the fire-breathing dragon escapes, all Hyrule will become a burning wasteland. I will go on ahead to try and seal up the evil dragon. I'm concerned, though, because I don't have the legendary hammer, but I have no choice. So he's asking you as his sworn brother to save all of his people while he is dealing with the dragon. Prisoner's cells are in the opposite direction, which might seem concerning because there's a locked door, but turns out one of the people that needs to be freed is actually in this room, which makes you kind of wonder why he didn't free the person in this room. The guy's right over here. This dungeon has a very simple to remember gimmick about all of the keys that you'll find, because there are a pretty high amount of them, are inside of cells that have captive Gorons. So all you have to do is find the switch, and that will open the cell, hop over, and get your key. You can talk to the Gorons as well, and they give you a lot of different tips. However, I'm going to ignore those for the sake of, 1, that I'm going to explain myself, 2, the text goes very slowly, and 3, I don't want to waste the time. Even though we do have infinite time limits, that's going to get kind of annoying and boring for both ends. Especially since some of the things that they say can be slightly repetitive. And you don't have to worry about the Gorons. In fact, if you go back into that room, the Goron will not be there anymore. He is smart enough to actually escape once the door's free. So he'll actually be back in Goron City. If you go back there again afterwards, he'll he'll be there, as will all the rest of the Grons whenever you save them. So right there we have a Song of Time block. Before I play the Song of Time, put that down here, let's go ahead and go in here first. And a lot of the rooms that are cells look like this one right here. It's kind of funny to open up the cell and have them be like, oh, you saved me, and then just ignore them and pick up the key. But just to go ahead and show you for proof, whenever you leave, and then you come back in, I'm pretty sure they're gone anyway. I've never actually checked. I'm just making things up. Yeah, he's actually gone, so they are smart enough to leave. If you talk to them, they'll also leave after, you know, they'll say, were you the one that freed me? I'll give you a secret in order, you know, I'll give you a secret for saving me, and then they'll, you know, tell you something special about the dungeon. This dungeon, to be perfectly honest, though, in Master Quest, I had a lot of trouble with it, mostly because the layout was very, very different. It's probably the easiest adult dungeon that you'll have in this game, at least for me it was. This one's much easier than the Forest Temple. And another reason that, I'm not going to lie, this is entirely true, another very plausible explanation for that, and this room's optional, it's just got a Skulltula in it, so you don't have to do this room if you don't want to. It's a bunch of Tile Masters, all you have to do is just shield, and then they'll run into your shield, but the reason that I know this dungeon relatively well as well is my first experience with Zelda was watching one of my friends who got me into the game playing this temple, so I already knew it pretty well just in addition to that. Right here we have a very annoying enemy, the Like. Not quite as annoying as the Wall Master, at least not in my opinion, but whenever he manages to eat you, he will take your shield and also a tunic if you're wearing one of the special tunics. It's not just the default one. If you defeat him quickly enough, you'll be able to get both of them back, both the shield and the tunic that you lost if you did lose one. So we're going to go ahead and re-equip them, but if you wait for too long, they will actually get destroyed flat out, and you'll have to go and buy them again, so if one of them gets you, make sure you kill the Like pretty quickly. Thankfully, they're not incredibly difficult enemies, they're just kind of annoying is all. So there's a token there. Every time you see a room like this, you can be pretty certain there'll be a Like and a Skulltula on one end of the room, and Tile Masters scattered throughout. So we got one of our keys. And really the trick with this room, while it is a big room, is just look on the left and right sides for doors, because the door at the opposite end of where you came in is the way that you're going to go at the end whenever you've secured all your keys. And I believe there's only two in this first room, which they're both on opposite ends, as you can tell. I don't have time for you. So one of the tricks you'll hear from the Grons is you can hear how I'm swinging my sword against this, and it kind of makes a different noise than the typical clang, like that does. That means that there's a wall that you can bomb right there, and most of the time that indication is very, very obvious. So you really don't need to worry about actually trying that. But if you hit something and it makes kind of an odd noise, try bombing it. It's probably something you can bomb. I think that's one of the first keys, or not first keys, one of the first tips that they give you. In addition, they also mention bombs as their special crop, because that's what they are. So they'll mention there are some switches you'll have to cut with your sword to activate, or if they're too far away you can use arrows or bombs, which, you know, a lot of Zelda games have switches like that, so once again, that's nothing incredibly new, but if you're new to the series, you may not know that. Yeah, I saw you coming. Alright, fine. I'll deal with you this time. So there's a key on that side, that's the door we came in, there's a key on that side as well, and then this is the way you have to go. So there's only 4 ways, really 3 since you came for one, that you can go. 2 of them each have a key, and one of them's locked, so you're going to have to go to one of those 2 and at least pick up one of the keys. So worst case scenario, you're going to come back to that room only to find you need another key. That's pretty much the worst thing that could happen. So it's not incredibly, it's not like an incredible setback like it is with the Forest Temple if you forget a key. You can't really go back that far. Right, here we're going to we're going to hook shot up here. You don't have to, you can just actually start climbing verbatim if you want, but it makes it go a little bit faster, and there's a couple keys up here, so go ahead and take these both out. Sometimes you'll get them both with one shot if you target the farther one first, but sometimes it doesn't work. It's worst case scenario, you're using another arrow, big whoop. I should have picked up the upgrade while I was in Kakariko to get 40 arrows, but to be perfectly honest, you're not going to need them in this dungeon. It's alright. So you'll push this block down and just wait here for the lava to push this up. And this would be the point where you'd need your second key, and then you would realize you missed a key if you didn't have one. we're in a room right here where it looks like there's another Goron that we have to free, but we actually hit the switch on the other side. You can kind of make it out between the bars there. So we're not going to be able to get it in this spot in the room. We're going to have to come back around later. These things are called torch slugs. They're very basic enemies, and they're not really a threat at all. What they'll do is they'll try to attack you whenever they spot you. If you slice at them once, it will usually put, or no, not usually, it will put their flame out, assuming your hit makes contact. Let's jump across here. Even though it looks like you can't make it, you can. And then they'll start running away from you, hit them again, and they will die. They will always drop magic jars if you need them, so keep that in mind. I don't know why either, because magic's not really something you use in this dungeon a whole lot, so it's kind of strange. The only magic thing we have to use would be Din's Fire or Furor's Wind, and I guess maybe you could use it for Furor's Wind, but you don't need it for Din's Fire. That's a fire-based enemy. Why would you do that? So what you have to do right here, this puzzle actually took me a while to figure out because the switch does not last very long. You have to drop a bomb down and then jump in this direction. And once that switch activates, you'll see that the fire goes away right there. And then you can run and climb up here. You don't get much of a timer for this, so if you tried to cut the switch and then climb up both of those, go around the whole puzzle and try to climb up to it, you would not have enough time. You have to drop a bomb down on it. I think if you're at a very good enough angle, and like you're just barely on the ledge right there, you can fire an arrow at it, whichever's easier, but the bomb will obviously give you more of a time to run forward. So that's what I'd recommend. Right here we have a maze, and you'll get to watch the grading clip through right there for a second. It's very wonderful to behold. I'm quite certain it's one of the more beautiful things in this game. But right here we have a bit of a mini maze that has a couple of Gorons that have been locked away once again. You can grab keys from them. I think there's only 2. That was one of them. Pretty much if you navigate the perimeter, you're going to find them all. And that really got me turned around for a second there. There's another one up here, but you can't get him from where you are. These boulders are kind of a pain in the butt, too. Whenever you get hit by them, they'll start going the opposite direction, but they always have a fixed path. I was going to say linear path, but that's not true. They always have a fixed path, so they can only go so far. That's why there's so many of them. It's not going to be one rolling around the entire thing. And if you get hit by one, big whoop, you don't lose that much health over it. So I'm going to go around you, because the other one is right here. This one's not actually in the room, but in going through this door, you'll obviously find another room with these types of walls. And the cell will, of course, reward you with another key. A lot of this dungeon is basically find 2 keys and then use 2 keys, and then find 2 more keys and then use 2 more keys. The keys seem to come in sets of 2 in this dungeon. I think 3, maybe 4 times. There's a lot of keys in this dungeon. Fortunately, they're all pretty easy to find, so nothing bad on that front. Here's where you use them. You use one in here, and you get put in this very precarious room. So in here you've got a little spot with hearts. You can jump to that if you want. This door is barred, and there's the eye switch in order to open it. So let's go ahead and shoot that. This just leads to the map. You don't have to get this if you don't want, but you are going to have to be very careful while navigating through here, because as you can see, if the camera would be so kind, it does purposely pan downward in order to let you know that you will actually fall back to that big center room that we were in before. So that's where you will go should you fall. So try not to do that. This will just lead you out here where you can pick up your map. To be perfectly honest, this is like the kid dungeons in the fact you really don't need the map and compass at all. They're not going to do you much good, but if you want to take them, then you can. To be honest, I don't remember where the compass is, but to be perfectly honest, you don't really need them, so if I don't get the compass, I don't get the compass. For stuff like the water temple, it might help, in explaining where I am and where I need to go, but for this one, not really. So now we're out in this room. This is where we actually picked up the map. The map was in a sealed-off type of area, but this is the same spot. You'll have this wall of flame coming after you. If you do get hit by it, you just take minor damage. It's not like an immediate get sent back to the start of the room or game over or anything like that, so no big concern there. There are some recovery hearts scattered throughout this room too, which is another reason why I say this dungeon's very easy. There's a lot of recovery hearts just kind of all over the place. Because yeah, if you take a look, that's where the map was right there that we just picked up.